It's Ash from Imagineyourgoddess here. I'm doing a deck profile today, one that's kind of been long awaited and long overdue. So we're approaching the release of the Magis OTT Extra Booster, so I figured I'd get this out of the way while we still have a chance to. So first off, the deck is going to be Vowing Saber Reverse. But first off, we're going to start with our starter, and this is going to be Linchu. Besides my Descendant deck, which may or may not be posted up at this point, Linchu really is the best starter for Eradicators. Counterblast 1 when it hits, when they boost a Vanguard and hits, you can kill something. Grade 1 or less. So it kills boosters, it kills the enemy starter, and that's mainly what you're going to be using it for, if you use it at all. But moving on here, let's go to our trigger lineup. So I start up with basically 7 critical triggers. Now you can see these are all Eradicator triggers. I think these are... yeah, you're going to need to be using Eradicator things just because there's some things on this deck that require them, and in general I feel more comfortable using Eradicator triggers. Really run 7 crits is because you need a bit more draw power in this deck, and because it's a bit slow. It's a cross-ride deck, and cross-ride decks are slow. You could even switch this down to about 6 and 6, but right now I feel like 7 gives me a good amount to kind of switch between. So moving on, I run about 5 draw triggers, and there's 4 Eradicator and then 1 random one. And the reason, like I said, is because cross-ride decks are very slow. You need a bit more draw on them, but in general, because cross-rides are 13k, they're a bit easier to defend for a lot of columns, so these can kind of be like Suedo 10k shields. So they're like fake 10k shields in a sense, but so it's not too bad. And of course 4 heal triggers. This is Vanguard, so you want to do, you want to sack into heals if you can. Moving on to the grade 1s. I run, of course, 4 perfect shields. Eradicator, like I said, there is something in this deck that uses Eradicator Counterblast, so you want to be able to have them if you need it. And of course, perfect shields are sacky as well. You want to be able to defend against huge, solo attacks or whatever, so it doesn't kill you. And then I run 4 Shuki. This is a more traditional Eradicator build, so you're going to be getting his effect off more often, and well, at least one of them off, and he's pretty good in that he lets you swing for pretty high column numbers if you do it right. Then I run 4 Demolition Dragons. These are the 10k attackers, and the reason that I run these is they're very aggressive, and some decks like Link Joker you want to be aggressive against, at least until Chaos Breaker, and these kind of help you with that. Then my last 2 units I run is Caster, and basically a drop and draw, not really that great, but it's a 7k, and really her slot can be anything. I just wanted more 7ks out of Eradicators. I could have chosen the Kojiki, which is a 10k booster, but it didn't. So, moving on to the grade 2s, I run 4 of the 12k attackers. I feel these are kind of staple in most, if not every, Eradicator deck, and 12ks in general are really strong, lets you hit without boosting, and lets you make 18k columns pretty easy as well. And I run 4 Chos. This is part of the reason this is to retire stuff. I'll even get rid of Linchu to retire something if I don't need Linchu, because like if the opponent doesn't have a lot of boosters or something, or their starter really isn't something that's a threat, well, you can just kill their attackers with this. Just people will play 10k attackers and things in the front, so that's a good target for him. And he also, like I said, pumps up Shuki and our next card, which will be Roshishin. Roshishin is a 8k, which sucks, but he is, whenever something dies, goes in the drop zone due to one of your effects, he gets plus 5k. And basically he becomes an 18k column whenever you get Vowing Saber Reverse off, and since you have to lock 2, basically you have basically a magic numbered column there whenever you use that ability. And plus he's strong if you can use any other retiring effects with it. So onto our grade 3s, I run 2 Descendants. He is just too good not to run. I mean, I guess you could run 4/4 in a pure build, but I run 2 Descendants because this is your, when he's there at 5 damage, you ride this to kind of finish them off. Because you're, you have 1 Counterblast left over, and like I said, the Eradicator Counterblast is mainly for him. If you need to pump him up and you don't get Vowing Saber's effect off multiple times for whatever reason, like you don't have enough rear guards, he is a big pressure gainer, so win your games with that. But in my practice matches, I've tended not to ride him just to kind of show that the deck can still do decent without him, but not as decent as I like. Then I run 3 Vowing Sword Dragons. This is a break ride. Plus 10k, kill for something in front row. Does trigger Shuki and Roshishin, so it's pretty cool in that aspect. Most of the time that you won't want to do this. It does give you cross rides, so it makes it easier to defend, but it does very much slow the game down. So that's another kind of proponent of why you want to run draws, because waiting for cross ride really does slow the game down, which could be deadly depending on the matchup. Then of course I run Star of the Deck 3 Vowing Saber reverse, and I think he has a pretty decent effect of, Counterblast 2, and you're locking 2 Eradicators, and then he gets plus 10k, and the opponent has to stack 2 units. Now they get to choose, but with Shukis and Roshishin there, you're going to get bonuses from that. And of course, you're probably going to lock his booster because he becomes a 21, or 23 if you did it right. And yeah, he's just pretty strong in that aspect. The problem with this deck, though, is like you're in a format with Revengers, which I feel is the hardest matchup for this deck, if not most decks. And really, that's part of the reason why I have Cho-Os in here, because you need to be able to retire things. Part of the reason with my EDD deck, you didn't really retire a lot of stuff, is because it's fast. So it's not really as necessary, but this plays more like traditional Eradicators with retiring and gaining numbers because of it and all that. But I mean, overall, it's an okay deck, and I definitely recommend it as one of the more budget, if you can even call it that, Eradicator decks. And yeah, this has been Ash from Imagineyourgoddess. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.